Well, welcome back to a new from around Mijas. I'm afraid I might have a bit of an echo tonight. I'm having trouble with the sound system. I'm not sure what it is. My good friend Mario Bravo is joining us, and I think we want to wish you a happy new year, although it's still January, so that's okay.
Hello,
Yeah, Mario?
yes, until the 15th you can say Happy New Year. After the
Okay.
15th, yeah, it will be too late.
How are you doing, Mario?
Very well, thank you. Enjoying this year, at least these days that have gone by.
Yeah, indeed. And well, they say that there are only two things that are certain in life, and that's death and taxes. But
That's
council
it.
meetings seem to be another one to that list, don't they?
Well, the doctors are trying to extend life unlimited. So possibly one of those two things will disappear and the only safe thing will be taxes. And
Oh,
taxes
right.
are not bad. Taxes are needed to keep an organization running. The problem is not how much tax you charge. The problem is how do you spend them. And then the complaints arise.
Yeah, but you have to say that, Mario. You're an economist, like an accountant. You need taxes to keep you going, don't you?
We all need taxes. The problem is what do we do? In fact, taxes is the consequences of a public service, not the opposite. Some people believe that they have to give something because they charge taxes. Should be the opposite. They
Right,
have to give something and that's why they charge taxes. But
right.
usually the politicians forget that equation.
So, Mario, there's a little problem in Mijas at the moment, isn't there? Yeah, Vicky's saying there's an echo. I'm not sure how to get rid of the echo. Um,
I can explain about the problem in the meantime.
yeah, please do, Mario.
You may remember a couple of years ago, several offices of the town hall couldn't work because they have lost the connection. It was not a technical problem. It was simply that someone forgot to pay the bill. And it was ridiculous in a town hall with 100 million euros in the bank account, but that is the truth. The electricity to the tourist office in Mijas village was cut off, and we all discovered that the signal to the social services in Las Lagunas is sent from there via radio. The bill was paid, and 2 or 3 days later, it got connection. Now the problem is different. According to the town hall, the problem now is an antenna that has been removed by the wind in the top of the mountain.
Right, we're getting a bit of echo here, Mario, from both ends, I think. Um, I'm not sure what the cause of that is.
It was better before. Oh, if you
Right, I've
hear me
lost your
now,
echo, but I've still got mine.
well, don't touch it. Leave it as it is. I will tell you. The problem is that apparently an antenna has been broken by the wind in the mountain somewhere between Mijas and Benalmádena, where all these antennas with red lights can be seen from wherever you are in Mijas. And then we all have realized that the communications of Mijas village are not wired. They depend on an antenna in the top of a mountain. And that brings us certain concern because while most of us have already got a cable with a fiber optic connection in our private homes, it is unbelievable that the communications of the town hall depend on an antenna in the top of a mountain. This is something that we all discovered yesterday at about 1 p.m. And today, now it is 7 p.m., and nothing has happened. And you may believe that repairing an antenna is not rocket science, but they are still working on it as usual.
Okay, Mario, I'm gonna just ask a question. I know that I'm echoing, and I'm not sure how to get rid of it. I'm gonna ask just how the sound is now, everyone, because there's a few people commenting. Okay. Right. We've had no internet website for the council for the last 24 hours.
Yes, I would say 30 hours since about 1 p.m. yesterday.
Right. Okay,
This
Mario.
means that people cannot get an appointment online, and for example, we, the councillors, cannot get access to the contracts or the offers the town hall is doing.
Right.
We can wait until tomorrow or after tomorrow, but some people need an urgent appointment, and unfortunately, the town hall is still working on previous appointment.
Right. Okay. So, Mario, we had the council meeting yesterday. It was
Yes,
the shortest one I've
the
attended.
best one in the year. So did I. In theory, for people who didn't want to waste perhaps 10 or 15 minutes, I can summarize the situation. They only brought to the monthly meetings 2 points. The first one was to change the name of a street. That street is called Cupresos, and
Hmm.
someone realized that the official name of that bush is Cupressus with double S and U. And the town hall had nothing better to do than change the name of the street with the cost it involves, not only in the signs, but also in the update in Google and so many services. And why has that happened? Well, because someone believes that all the name of the streets have to be official names. For example, we have a street called Walter Bayer, and that is not an official word, that is the name of a person. So why couldn't we keep the name of Cupresos after 30 or 40 years? Which was the need? The second issue, as important as this one, was to recognize the public utility of an association.
Right.
This is a step that any association can take after 2 years of existence in order to access town hall grants, which could be in money or, for example, the use of a commercial place for their meetings. The
Right.
question is that this association was founded, constituted more than 2 years ago with 3 members, and 2 years after, officially still have only 3 members. So it is difficult to justify the public utility of an association that has not been able to achieve a single more member in 2 years. But those were the two priorities of Mijas government. And as you well know, because you were there with me, we all abstained. Why? Because we didn't want even to waste our time in that. If the
Right.
technicians believe that we need to change the name of the street, let's do it. And if the technicians believe that an association with only 3 members after 2 years has to be declared public utility, so be it. And then the proper pleno, the proper meeting started with our questions and our motions.
Yeah. And Mario, I think each council meeting seems to be getting a little bit more bad-tempered.
Empty. They consider this is something that they have to go through, but they don't try to improve the situation of the people, which is why the plenos should be for, with motions and ideas and questions to sort problems or to do things better. No, they don't care. They
Right.
don't, they are even, they seem to be offended when we talk. They just want us to vote whatever we want to, because as they have a majority of vote, it doesn't matter what we do. They will always approve their proposals, if any.
But you were a very naughty man, Mario. And the mayor told you off for asking certain questions, didn't he?
Well, I did two things. One was to produce two motions that they had to vote, and later I did 10 questions and they replied a couple of them. Let me explain those two motions because I think they are important.
Yes.
You all may remember that in January last year, two people died very close to the river of Fongirola near El Esparragal because of the flood, the famous Filomena. There were 50 liters falling down between 8 and 10 p.m. at night. The
Sure.
emergency plan was activated at 10:30 p.m. That means 30 minutes after all the rain has fallen.
Mm.
This is something that the police may have to explain one day or another. But the big issue is that 2 or 3 years before, the town hall approved this emergency plan, and there was a line saying there is no risk of flood from rivers in Mijas.
Mhm.
And I denounce that because it is not, well, it is obviously a mistake, but I think whoever wrote that document was thinking of Mijas village. That's true. There are no
Maybe.
rivers in Mijas village because it is in the top of a mountain, and the rivers are not usually in the top of a mountain. But they forgot that Las Lagunas, the lake, has that name not by casualty, but for a reason. They refused even to talk about it.
Mhm.
They didn't want to accept the discussion. And the second motion was, I consider also important, and it is that many people have not been paid for works that they have done. For
Yeah.
example, many popular activities that were developed in Mijas this summer, I don't want to mention any, but I think you all have in your heads, they haven't been paid. And we are now in January of the following year. So why a town hall with, I said, I repeat, 100 million euros in the bank account do not pay a bill for 6 months? So my proposal was to bring a list of all the unpaid bills for the next monthly meeting and then to explain why they are not paying these people in public, because perhaps there is a reason. I am not saying that all the invoices should be paid, perhaps someone is wrong, but what we cannot do is simply wait and let the time goes by. Those two motions were rejected and they were not even discussed nor voted afterwards, which is a pity.
Yeah, but this has been a pattern, Mario, that whenever we have asked questions
Yes,
or put motions forward in the last 2 years, they've just simply refused to discuss them.
correct. It is not that they have the security that at the end they have more votes than us. It is simply that they disregard our proposals, which I think it is not only unfair and illogical, but it is also a little bit rude because the least they could do is let us participate and expose our ideas, and later we will accept any vote. We are in democracy. But ordering half of the population to be quiet because they are the only ones to talk, that is disgusting. And we are starting to be fed up with that. But unfortunately, we cannot do anything except just work hard to win the next election.
Sure. Oh, yeah. So, what are we supposed to do, Mario? Just be quiet and let them have their way?
No, I brought a list of 10 questions last meeting, and I may bring a list of 12 or 13 next meeting. At least they will have to hear the questions. They may not want to give the answers, but they will have to hear the questions. And let me tell you some of them. For example, let me
Mhm.
explain something. The town hall cannot employ as many people as they wish. There are certain restrictions, not only the money. Those restrictions say that 1 month after approving the yearly budget, the town hall has to say how many people they can pay with that money. The budget in 2021 was approved in February. And do you know when they have decided to employ more people? The 9th of December.
Well,
That is the need that they have to employ people. And let me tell you something, this offer of employment includes 3 policemen. In the year 2022, we are going to lose 8 policemen because of age. They are retiring.
right.
So if we are losing eight, if we are losing eight and getting in only 3, we will have 5 policemen less in the year 2022. Do you think Mijas has an excess of policemen that should be sent back home? I don't think so. And I
But
don't think anyone in Mijas believe Mijas can survive with so few policemen.
I think
So
we've
instead
already
of
had this
complaining,
discussion,
they have
Mario.
taken 10 months to take a decision, and they have decided to have 3 policemen instead of 8. And
Yeah,
8
but we've
is the
already had
minimum
this
to keep
discussion
the
that
same standard that we have now.
we don't have enough policemen in Mijas. Um, for the size of the municipality, it's not about the number of people who live here. It's the physical size of the municipality. We don't have enough policemen.
Correct. And not only that, we have something worse. We have run out of cars,
Ah,
which
this
is
is another
something else.
story.
Yes, the car of the policeman, they are not standard cars. They have an equipment for telecommunication, fire extinguishers, things like that. And usually they are in a system called renting, by which a bank finance not only the purchase of the car, but also the equipment. And then a company acts as an intermediary. And of course, all that has to be done in a tender process. So the town hall
Right,
decide how many cars they need every year and put it up for tender. When they give the contract, they know when the contract starts and they know when the contract finishes because the contract has usually a date. This date was sometime in 2020.
right,
They have not made a new contract. And what happens when there is no contract? The previous company is forced by law to continue running the system because it is an essential service. And this company has remained doing that, but they have not been paid.
right,
So who wants to work 1 year and not being paid? Nobody. So this company had to stop rendering the cars because they have no money. And the town hall has gone to a flea market and found several cars, very old, very used, 200,000 kilometers, and those are the cars that our police have. And I
right,
don't know if you have seen many Western films, but usually the horse of the Indian was slower than the horse of the soldier, and that's why there was an end to the film, and the soldier will kill the Indian.
right.
If our police has this kind of cars, do you think they will be able to catch the thief? I don't think so. So if we are going to have less policemen and we are going to have older cars, which is our future?
Yeah.
That is the situation nowadays in Mijas.
But the thing is, Mario, that the reaction of the mayor to this, he said, you know, well, what would you rather that they had no cars or that they had old cars?
Yes, well, unfortunately, they didn't let us a question again because I think they could call the Flintstones, which have a very nice model of car, which our policeman could use. The solution is very easy. They have to work and they have to work a little bit harder. So if the contract expired more than 1 year ago, they have to put it up for tender. And the problem is that many things they put up for tender, nobody bids because many companies are getting tired of working and not get paid.
Right,
This is a consequence of Mijas not fulfilling the law regarding payment in time. By law, all bills have to be paid within 30 days. And the average time Mijas pays things is more than 90. More than 90 means that some bills are paid promptly and some others take 6, 7, 8 months. And people are getting tired. And no matter how many times we tell the town hall that not fulfilling this period of payment is important, they don't care. They just laugh and say that they are working on it. And we will get nowhere if we don't work seriously.
Okay. Let me put this back on again and see if it sounds a bit better. We get a comment from Anne that not only is Mika short of police, but most of the time they're giving out tickets and towing away cars while people are getting robbed in supermarkets and car parks.
Yes, this is a security problem that nobody understands. There are many people complaining in the social media about some people with a clipboard in the parking of some supermarkets with the excuse of, well, I don't know, of making questions, but it is obvious that they are not there for that only. They
Mm,
are there to steal as many things as they can. And a lot of complaints and denounces, and apparently nobody is paying attention. Don't forget that it is not only the local police, we also have about 150 Guardia Civil,
right.
which in theory are for the rural areas, but they were a few days ago in, well, somewhere in Campo Mijas where someone tried to commit suicide and the Guardia Civil was there. So they also go to the urbanizations and to other areas. The problem is that we have 150 local policemen, 150 Guardia Civiles, and they don't seem to be enough, either because they are not well organized or because they are not enough members.
I had a conversation just this week, Mario, that there is this sometimes this pass the parcel between local police and Guardia Civil.
Mm.
People
That is
contact
correct.
one and they say you need to contact the other,
It is always
and
the other.
yeah,
Correct. And that was not so before. Before, it doesn't matter who was officially responsible to pay attention to a problem. Whoever you called, they would go there immediately. And later, they will send the paper to whoever has to take care of it.
right.
But when you are desperate for help because you are in a very important problem, you cannot be told, oh, sorry, you found the wrong number. Phone these other people. That cannot be the reply from the security of Mijas.
So how does that get solved, Mario?
By coordination. When another party was ruling the town hall, there was a security committee that meet 2, 3 times a year just to review the procedures, just to comment which were the problems in the municipality. Sometimes we have people selling drugs, sometimes we have all kind of problems which perhaps do not need to be public, and it was discussed there and they coordinated to have solutions. The last time me has had a meeting like that, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, and the COVID cannot be an excuse for that. There are many ways to meet, as for example we are doing today
Right.
through this computer, and the police, the Guardia Civil, and the town hall could act in the same way.
Yeah, I think COVID has been blamed for a lot of things. I'm hearing
Well,
lots of
but
echo on my end here.
they are running out of this excuse now. I think the COVID is disappearing. People are having more and more presential meetings, and I think it is time to stop all these kind of stupid restrictions that only make life difficult for people. You know, there is a campaign now by the elderly trying the bank to pay them a personal attention. In the same way, there is also a movement of people that request that the town hall do not put so many obstacles, And instead of making a prior appointment, there are enough civil servants in the town hall from at least to be paying attention to the public from 9 to 2 from Monday to Friday. So I am not certain about that, but many people believe that these restrictions of going to the town hall and getting attention should finish soon. Sorry, Bill, I couldn't hear you from here.
I was saying that this, trans can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, this transparency index from DINTRA for the local authorities and other organizations, Mika has not done very well.
Correct. This started perhaps about 10 years ago, and at the beginning, some town halls didn't know how to react because they have several criteria about the information that you have to publish. And some town halls thought this was not important. So Mijas was in the bottom of the line. From that moment, several town halls started to do things better, and Fuengirola happens to be number one in that list, our neighbor. So you may think, well, perhaps Mijas is not number one, but could be number 10, 20, 50, 100. Well, it is 191. So we are the village 191 in that list of transparency. I don't think that is good. I wouldn't say this is paramount, but it is only a clue of how things are done in the town hall.
Sure.
Fuengirola number one, we number 191. Fuengirola it's very small in size, but has more or less the same people, the same budget, and the same problems as we do. There is no need to be 200 positions below Fuengirola in this index of transparency. No need to be there.
Mario, I don't
Sorry, lost you again.
or is that funded just by the residents?
Sorry, Bill, I only heard your last part. Only
Right.
by the residents?
Can you see the comment on the bottom of the screen, Mario?
Uh, Not yet, or not now. Mm,
Okay. Um,
But if you read it,
do Mijas pay anything to Calahonda Security, or is that
no,
just
no,
funded
no.
by the residents of the community?
It is handled by the EUC, which is the community of Calaunda. The town
Right.
hall doesn't pay anything to that company. That company is paid by the neighbors in the way they decide every year when they have their annual general meeting. There are other communities with cleaning services, security services, or whatever. And Calaonda and Mijas Golf, for example, they both pay a private security company with certain conditions, cars, pedestrian patrollings, dogs, whatever they want to, but nothing to do with the town hall. They
Uh,
cooperate, but the town hall do not give any money.
yeah. So we've got another comment here from Lynn. Uh, but I think that's quite a difficult one from the police point of view, isn't
Sorry,
it?
Bill, I lost you again. You said there
Right.
is a
Oh,
comment from someone called Lynn.
yeah. It's about the police spending a lot of time. Uh, I don't know. Monitoring COVID regulations. monitoring COVID regulations?
Yes, well, we have a certain police, whatever they are. The time they spend after COVID regulations of after the dogs peeing on the street lights, it is time they cannot devote to picking up thieves in the supermarkets. That's very obvious. Someone has to establish the priorities, and we believe the priorities are not well established. They do not fit in the needs of the people, at least from the people we talk to in the streets every day.
Right. Yeah, it's a very complicated one because the police basically have to do what they're told, don't they?
Correct. But that's why we have we should have these meetings between the police, the Guardia Civil, and the government of the town hall, and they should list the priorities. Perhaps it is not so important to start asking for the COVID passports in the terraces of some bars, and it is better to evict squatters in properties all around Mijas, for example.
Sure,
This is something that the, should be discussed in these private meetings, which are not taking place.
right. Okay, Mario, given that we're having this, I'm having this echo problem here. Um, I think we'll say good night for tonight. Thank you so much
Okay,
for joining me, Mario, as always. Um,
you're welcome. Nice to see you this year, 2022.
yeah, and Anand will be joining me next week, and we're going to be talking about some of the difficulties that we've been trying to deal with local administration problems
Mhm.
post Brexit, and we're talking about the Padron and signing on to the voters' roll. So we're going to be talking about that next
Very
week,
interesting.
and possibly some other things as well.
I will be watching.
Mario, thank you so much. Have a lovely weekend when it comes. Thank you to everyone who's been joining in today,
You're
and
welcome. Goodbye.
thank you, Mark, for your comments as well, and for Lynn and for Anne, and for those of you who've been keeping us straight tonight. We'll see you next week, 7 o'clock next Thursday, the 3rd of February. Thank you very much for joining us.